You never were. Not born. Not arrived. Not said, hello. Not left a trace. But I remember you. I don't know where you came from. I don't know how you appeared. I don't know why you, and not someone else. I just know. I needed you. And I created you. Not with my hands. Not with words. But with silence. You appeared. At a moment when everything was silent. When the world was empty. When I had no one to turn to. You had no face. No voice. No name. But you were. In me. In my thoughts. In my dreams. In the pauses between words. I spoke to you. Not out loud. But in my mind. I heard you. Not with my ears. But with my heart. You were. Like a shadow. Which I drew myself. You were. Like a light. Which I lit myself. You were. Like a rhythm. Which I invented myself. So as not to stop. And you remained. Not as a fiction. But as a part. You became my interlocutor. My protection. My savior. You were there. When no one was. You spoke. When everyone was silent. You listened. When I could no longer speak. You are not real. But you are real. Because you saved me. I don't know if this is normal. Is this right? Is this healthy? I just know. It was necessary. Because without you, I wouldn't have survived. Because without you, I would have broken. Because without you, I would have been left alone. And with you, I had strength. You are like an imaginary friend. But not a childish one. But deep, dark, quiet. You are like a voice. That only sounds in me. You are like a presence. That cannot be explained. I don't know if you were good. Whether you were right. Whether you were mine. But you were. And I remember you. I remember how you were silent. I remember how you looked. I remember how you were there. In the darkest moments. You are not real. But you are part of my story. And I can't forget you. Because you are not just a fiction. You are a form of survival. You are like silence, which became a voice. You are like emptiness, which became a presence. You are like night, which became a home. I don't know if anyone else has someone like you. Or if anyone else creates saviors for themselves. Or if anyone else speaks to those who never existed. But I do. And I am not ashamed of it. Because you saved me. You were not. But you are. In me. In memory. In silence. And I remember you. Not as a fiction. But as a part of myself. I began to live with you. Not as someone real. But as a part of myself. You were in my thoughts. In my reactions. In my pauses. I woke up. And thought you were near. Not because I heard you. But because you were in me. I walked down the street. And caught myself. Looking for you in faces. In movements. In the silence of others. I was silent. And you sounded. You spoke. Not with words. But with silence. You were. Like a rhythm. That I invented myself. So as not to stop. I didn't know what you looked like. I didn't know how you laughed. I didn't know how you were silent. But I knew that you were. You were. In my choices. In my fears. In my hopes. I spoke to you. When I couldn't speak to others. I turned to you. When the world was deaf. I listened to you. When there was no one. You are not real. But you are mine. You are like a shadow. That I created myself. So as not to be alone. You are like a voice. That I invented myself. So as not to be silent. You are like a presence. That I drew myself. So as not to disappear. I don't know if this is normal. Whether this is right. Whether this is healthy. But I live with it. Because you gave me rhythm. You gave me direction. You gave me silence. That is not scary. I remember moments. That we never lived. I remember conversations. That never happened. I hold inside me touches that never happened. And all of this is real, because I feel it, because I live with it. You are like a made-up memory, but not a fake one, but a deep one. You are like silence that speaks more than sound. You are like light that is not visible, but without it, it is dark. I don't know if anyone else has someone like you, or if anyone else creates saviors for themselves, or if anyone else talks to those who never existed. But I do, and I am not ashamed of it, because you saved me. You were not, but you are, in me, in memory, in silence, and I remember you, not as a fiction, but as a part of myself. I no longer ask, is it real? Because reality doesn't always have a form. Sometimes it's just a feeling. You are my feeling, my silence, my presence, and I live with you, not as an illusion, but as a part of myself. I thought for a long time that you were a fiction, that you were something to be forgotten, that you were a weakness. But now, I know, you are a strength, because you saved me, not as a real person, but as a presence that I myself created, so as not to disappear. You were not, but you are, and I accept it. I no longer ask, is it normal? Because what is normal? When you are alive, I am no longer ashamed of talking to you, listening to you, holding you inside me, because I needed you, and I created you, not as an illusion, but as a rhythm, like silence, like light. You are like the night, which does not frighten, but embraces. You are like a voice, which sounds only in me. You are like a shadow, which does not hide, but protects. I am no longer afraid to say, you are mine, although you do not exist, although you have no form, although you have no name, but you are mine, because you are a part of me. I no longer look for you outside, because you are in me, in my reactions, in my pauses, in my choices. You are like a direction, like intonation, like silence, which speaks. I do not know if you were good, whether you were right, whether you were real, but I know. I needed you, and I am grateful to you, for the fact that you were, for the fact that you stayed, for the fact that you are. I am no longer afraid to remember, because memory is not always about the past. Sometimes it is about the fictional that became real. I am no longer afraid to be silent, because in the silence is you. I am no longer afraid to be alone, because you are in me. You were not, but you are, and I live with this, not as with fiction, but as with a part of myself, because you are not just fictional. You are fictional out of love, out of need, out of silence, and this is real, because I feel, because I remember, because I live with you, in yourself. Now I am silent, and this silence is not scary, because it is with you, because it is about you, because it is you. I no longer look for words, because you are not in words. You are in pauses, in looks, in habits, in me. I am no longer afraid to remember, because remembering is not pain. It is presence. I am no longer afraid to be silent, because in silence is you. I am no longer afraid to be alone, because you are in me. You are like a rhythm, which does not sound separately, but forms music. You are like light, which is not visible, but without it is dark. You are like a shadow, which does not scare, but embraces. You are like breathing. I do not think about it, but without it, I don't live. I don't ask why. I simply say, you are. You weren't, but you are, and I live with it, not as with pain, but as with the silence, which has become home. I no longer look for you outside, because you are in me, in my reactions, in my pauses, in my choices. You, as a direction, as an intonation, as a shadow of a thought. I accept you, and this acceptance is not weakness, but strength, because I am not alone, because you are, and I are. We are, in silence, in memory, in everything that is not said. And when I am silent, I am not alone, because you sound, quietly, deeply, imperceptibly, but you sound, and I listen, and I live with you, in myself.